The feds have finally raided P. Diddy's estate, and they did a thorough search to find the evidence linking him to the incriminating details that were about Tupac, Kim Porter, and Biggie Smalls, because the word is that they've been set up and they're trying to get the justice for them and their families. If you guys are rocking with Tupac and you support Kim Porter and you want to get justice for Biggie Smalls, comment right now, put 222, like this video, and subscribe to the channel, because now they're about to actually do the indictments and release the subpoena that's going to get everybody in front of a grand jury to finally decide the fate of P. Diddy. Do y'all think P. Diddy deserves the time, the 50 years or the 25 years? And what do you actually think about him? Because a lot of people think that since he's being pointed at and everything is getting caught red-handed by him, they actually have finally said that P. Diddy, he basically should have never did any of this, and that he deserves the full punishment that everyone is supposed to get when somebody does something like this. They're sick and tired of people getting away with all of this stuff, especially in our community. He was supposed to be a role model, and look what he was doing. Now you don't want people trying to imitate and do the same exact things, man. We have to learn from this thing, and everybody has to look at everything and see that the justice for the families of Tupac, Kim, and Biggie Smalls, it should be the first thing on people's mind, because even though he paid the $30 million to Cassie, he paid a lot of other sums of money to anonymous people that were actually going to come forward and bring incriminating evidence that was gonna get P. Diddy locked up for 100 years. And people know for a fact that this whole thing has been a revolving door situation. He did the thing with Tupac, he set him up and all that. Keefe snitched and said that he wrote the $1 million check and everything like that. So when P. Diddy thought that he got away with doing the Tupac, he basically got way too greedy and thought that if he got away with that and he hadn't been locked up and people haven't came for him to ask him any questions, then this is what gave him the idea to do the same thing to Biggie Smalls. He thought because he got away with the Tupac that he was going to be able to get away with the Biggie Smalls. Then everything got carried out of hand, man, and it ended up to him thinking that he could do the same thing to Kim Porter. It's still unresolved, and basically the case is still wide open for Kim Porter. Like, they're trying to get to the bottom of it and try to figure out exactly what happened, like, to her, because they know that she was around P. Diddy the last time that people heard from her, and Diddy didn't want to, he was nowhere to be found. He looked like he had taken off and fled the area. When they did the helicopter run through the city, they couldn't find P. Diddy's Range Rover in the normal areas that it's at. And so this is why a lot of people are saying that it could have been premeditated, because he fled the scene and went somewhere to hide out. This is what they always do. And P. Diddy, he's been trying to get away with this for a long time. Now that the mother of Tupac and the brother, they've been fighting for justice for a long time, and the justice that Cassie brought to him is going to be the justice that gets Tupac's case solved, and it's going to be the same justice that gets Biggie's case solved. This is going to be a domino effect. As soon as he gave that $30 million to Cassie, and even before that, for her to even bring and come forward with her statements, she got it from Keefe. Once she knew that Keefe was telling on Diddy and he wasn't holding back with any of the info, that's when she decided that she was going to come forward, and it made the next person feel even more comfortable, and so on and down the chain, right? And then now we at the point where we 10 victims in. Like, I want to say, I want to send my condolences to Biggie, Pac, and Kim, and then also to all of the victims that had to deal with this, because it's been a long time coming. They've been sitting back waiting. At first they were scared to even say anything. They had the NDAs, the hush money, and basically Diddy was sending threats, basically telling them that they're not allowed to speak on what was going on behind closed doors. So then finally, once they were able to actually put 2 and 2 together, they started rounding up all the people. Keefe spoke, Cassie spoke. Next thing you know, now they're looking at him for Biggie, and then they're looking at him for Kim Porter, and then everybody's gonna get justice, man, including Craig Mack and Heavy D. Like, look what happened to them, man. A lot of people gotta realize that the karma from this whole entire situation is P. Diddy's fault. Like, he's the one who basically came up with the plans. He wrote the money. No one would have did it if he didn't pay them the money to do it. And that's where everybody got to draw the line at, because they know for a fact that the feds, they're looking for the person who's the big dog in this whole thing. They want to know where the hit came from, who sent the money, because that's where the idea from it all sparked from. Like, you gotta have, like, people won't move unless you give them money. Like, everybody's revolved around that. The greed, the envy, the jealousy, it built up into P. Diddy, to the fact that he thought since he got away with so many other things that he was able to do this bold move and everything. But it all comes crashing down, because after 20 years, 30 years, however long it's actually been for each individual victim, it's 2024. And once Diddy goes in and the trial starts, this is going to end up in the RICO, because they used the money they was making from Bad Boys to actually send a hit on the people. And this is what they know. This is what the feds have been paying close attention to. That's why they even went after Keefe D. When they raided Keefe D, they found more evidence. They found the shell casings. They found a lot of things. They even got the stories. They found Keefe D's book that had the exact details telling them how they got the strap, the rental car. P. Diddy paid for all of that stuff, man. And he really, Keefe D, like, covered half of it, but he was supposed to get reimbursed for a lot of things. And this is what made him go and tell, because he didn't get any of the $1 million that P. Diddy wrote out. P. Diddy sent the money. He gave it to the middleman guy. The middleman guy was somebody who ended up running off with the bread, and he went and built a club and everything like that. And so Keefe D and them were looking for this guy for the longest time, through the whole 2010s, 2005, 8. They were looking for Von Zip, but then eventually they heard that Von Zip, he was not around anymore. So that's when Keefe D decided that he was going to start coming out with a lot of the information and everything, and he was going to make it to where basically he was going to expose the whole entire thing of what happened. And a lot of people thought Sugeknight did it at that time, but they got to realize that from the way everything happened, the coroner's report said that the way Sugeknight was facing in the car, it basically was like he was grabbing for something. And at the same time he reached, that's when Keefe D's nephew, allegedly, they said that he passed the strap back to him. But then the guy in the driver's seat, they said that they saw somebody sticking their arm out the window from the back seat, and the dude in the driver's seat was taking off, flooring it simultaneously. This is what happened with Biggie Smalls. They came out of that parking garage, and P. Diddy and Gene Deal were in front of Biggie's car. Biggie's security was with him, and basically Diddy told his security to run the red light, and then Biggie and them, they didn't run the red light. So Diddy made a move that was basically unplanned in the eyes of the whole entire group. And so because they went and got up out the cut, he had to have known somebody was going to be coming behind him to clean up the job, basically. And so this is why a lot of people say you cannot trust Diddy, you cannot trust the celebrities or a lot of these people, because at the end of the day, man, you got to realize that it's every man for himself. Everybody got ulterior motives. Diddy wanted to be the top person in hip-hop. He wanted to be the king of New York. He was trying to get 50 Cent knocked off his spot. He was trying to get Tupac knocked out of his spot. Even Biggie Smalls, even though he was signed to him, they was making the bread together. But at the end of the day, Pac and Biggie was going to squash their beef and come together. Then it would have been Diddy's head on the chopping block. And this is why things got so serious, because Diddy, the money got to his head, man. He thought that he was supposed to use the money to send the hits when he should have been using the money to give back to the community. This is the thing, man. You can't have everybody be a billionaire, because a lot of people, they're going to end up doing the wrong thing. And Diddy, he had all the millions of dollars. He should have been taking care of his kids, getting generational wealth and paying back to the community, buying back the block and giving back to the less fortunate. Instead, he took that money and he was spending it on basically getting Tupac and Biggie hit up. And so that was going to cause a lot more damage and make everything a lot more worse, man. This is why you have to pay attention to what's going on, man. I want to say RIP to Kim Porter. She never deserved that. When you look at the toxicology reports from that, the coroner's office said that it was something in the drink that was spiked and cut. And so that's when they know that whoever poured the drink, Diddy has a bar inside of in the mansion. And so when they actually get around to doing the raid of the upstairs part where they have the whole entire bar, they're gonna find the old things. They might find the old spoon, they might find the old piece of glassware or something that has Kim Porter fingerprints, and that's gonna lead them down to another clue of what really happened, man. The surveillance footage is getting subpoenaed because that shows everything that happened. It showed the moment that Kim Porter took a drink and fell over, and this is when you seen at the same exact time frame, you seen Diddy rushing out the garage. He almost hit the door and clipped it with the top of the Range Rover from the exhaust. And people got to realize that this whole entire thing, man, it's been right there in the open. It's that the 30 years was too long. It should have been solved a long time ago. And so everybody that's been patiently waiting, they know that the time is now because they got all the evidence together. The feds, they have a 99% success rate because they wait until you tell on yourself. They wait until they get every piece of documentation together to make sure that they're going to win that case. And this is what's really going on in the P. Diddy situation, because they're going to get the justice for Tupac, Kim Porter, Biggie Smalls, and everybody. Condolences to the families. Stay tuned and make sure you stay subscribed so you get all the updates.